So we've had e-commerce for 20 to 25 years, but we're now kind of at the point that all sorts of things are changing in really kind of profound and cascading ways. So everything in retail and e-commerce is breaking apart and changing. Everything in how consumer brands work, everything in marketing and advertising. And that's sort of $20 to $25 trillion of consumer spending, because all of the old routes to market and all the old aggregation models break apart. All the brands are now thinking about going direct. All of the retailers are thinking about selling advertising. All of the old ways of advertising don't work anymore. All of the e-commerce companies are asking if they should open stores. The stores are asking if they should be changing their customer relationships. The CPG companies are saying, should we be selling direct? All the D2C companies are saying, maybe we should stop having the website and start a store. So all the cards have been thrown up in the air now, and no one really knows where they're going to land. And that's been accelerated by the pandemic, although that varies a bit by what country you're in. But I think really what the pandemic has done is just crystallized our awareness of how far we've come. There's a great line by Jim Barksdale that there's two ways to make money in business: bundling and unbundling. So you can combine things or break things apart, aggregate or disaggregate. And so what's happening now is that TV is getting unbundled. It gets unbundled from cable, it gets unbundled from the channels, and retailing is getting unbundled. All the brands get unbundled from the traditional distribution, they get unbundled from the traditional CPG companies. Advertising gets unbundled instead of going through the old model of the ad agency and the newspaper and the TV station. Now, of course, that's all broken apart, and there are all sorts of new conceptions of what advertising would even be, what ad agencies would even be. So I think my framing really is that you had these very well set, well understood models of the flow of the product from the manufacturer to the consumer, and the flow of the consumer's buying journey all the way through to getting the thing. And then at each of those steps, there was a very clear and well understood aggregation model, whether that was Procter & Gamble or Walmart or Comcast or WPP. You had these very clear structures, and now all of those structures have been exploded. Well, there's different ways to think about this. One of them is the tech industry tends to have cycles of sort of 10 to 15 years where the center of gravity changes. And so there were mainframes, and then there were PCs, and then the web, and then smartphones, and we've had smartphones for close to 15 years, and all the obvious easy stuff has been done, and the iPhone that will be announced next week will not be as exciting as the first iPhone, because it can't be, any more than a new car isn't as exciting as a new car in 1920. And so people naturally ask, well, what is it that's next? And so people talk about machine learning and crypto and VR and AR and cars and satellites and brain interfaces and all sorts of interesting new technologies, some of which are important but are not going to be the next smartphone, like satellites are not going to be the next smartphone. Some of which could potentially be, the part of everybody's life every day, like crypto perhaps, machine learning certainly. We're not at the end of technology yet. We're not where railways are. There's more stuff to get done. Will it be one of these? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see.